Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Today is Wednesday, October 9th, and we are exactly one day removed from the much anticipated Tesla Robotaxi event, which may include revelations regarding other businesses that are highly anticipated, including their humanoid robot business. And given the current price of Tesla and the fact that it hasn't really run up at 244 right now, I think it's really exciting for Tesla shareholders in terms of the possibilities after tomorrow's event. I do think there's probably an 80% chance that this stock is higher 1 week from now, but we'll see. Today, the indexes are largely in the green. So Dow Jones is up 0.85%, Nasdaq is up 0.6%, S&P is up 0.59%. The dollar index has strengthened a bit, up 0.34%. That measures the dollar strength against major currencies. VIX is down 2.52%. We're still above 20, making it historically a good time to be a buyer. Tesla, as I mentioned, 244. Nvidia seems stuck at this ceiling basically for its share price at the low 130s. Lithium today is down. If you look at the lithium ETF, that includes a lot of lithium mining companies and battery companies, lithium related companies, that is. The largest lithium miner, Albemarle, is up 1.7%. Bitcoin is doing what Bitcoin has been doing, which is a whole bunch of nothing. It's at 62,286. Doge is up 3%. Gold, and I'll talk about gold in a second. Gold is down a bit. We're now at 2,600 an ounce. And PLL, one of our positions, is up an additional 17%. Congratulations to all holders there. And I did mention this on our Discord, and I think it's worth mentioning again. We take profits in a way where we are happy that we took profits if the stock price goes down, and we're happy that we left as much of our position as we did if the stock continues to climb. A lot of times unanticipated events happen which pull the stock price in one way or the other, and really I think the healthy reaction there is to say alhamdulillah when you've booked some profits. There's often events that you just can't anticipate, so don't try to always don't hindsight is always 2020. So don't think about what could have been, and instead be grateful for what you were able to achieve. We try to do our due diligence on these stocks, and even after doing our due diligence, there's a lot that has to go right in order for an investment to play out and be profitable. And that lot that has to go right is often things that we can't control. So when we do book some profits, then I think the proper take is just to say alhamdulillah and not think about could we have maximized it this way or maximized it this other way. That's really how investing becomes no longer any fun for people. All of this commentary is in relation to our PIF position in PLL. We actually had a target weight that was 10%, and it actually exceeded our target weight, and it reached 18-19% of our portfolio. And then we took profits, and it's still above 10% of our portfolio. So some of our members were talking about, oh, hey, maybe we could have gotten even more profits. Well, that may be true, but my mentality about this is always the same, is that take some profits, and again, in a way where you feel grateful that you took profits. If things don't go your way, and you're happy if things go your way. That is, so long as you still anticipate, so long as you still hold the thesis that the position is a good one to hold. So that's with regards to PLL, and I know a lot of PIF members. I hope a lot of PIF members are feeling very grateful. We did have one member in our Discord mention that they had 100% return on that particular position. So I'm really happy to hear that, and I hope a lot of you have the same and perhaps even more, inshallah. All right, so as it relates to Bitcoin miners, we saw Bitdeer and IOS Energy down today. That being said, Bitdeer did actually get a buy rating uh, from new coverage that it got. So a new analyst picked it up and assigned a buy rating. Right now, the average analyst target price for that particular position is 13.95, right? And given it's at 684 per share, that's 100% increase in the 100% upside, potential upside for this stock. So I think pretty bullish all around. We're just waiting on, inshallah, Bitcoin to do its thing. A lot of people are anticipating maybe we don't get a run in Bitcoin until the elections. That may be the case. It may be the case that if everyone is expecting that we actually do get a run before the election. It's tough to forecast these things. But what I can say is that, inshallah, we will get a run. Certainly, liquidity levels globally and monetary easing globally suggest that we should. If history is any indication, the appreciation in price will be quite healthy and quite juicy for holders. So now we just have to wait, just like we waited on PLL in order for our thesis there to play out and book our profits, and we had to tawassal the sabr. We had to do a lot of that for that particular position. We'll have to do that for all of our positions, inshallah. By the way, if you'd like to become part of our community, part of the PIF family, then do become a PIF member. Link to do so is in the description. So about gold, I do get a lot of, by the way, if you're watching, you can consider yourself part of the PIF family. But if you want to become a PIF member, then so an upgraded status, then become a PIF member. Link to do so is in the description, as I mentioned. As it relates to gold, I do get a lot of questions about gold and whether it's a good buy or not. And I think they're legitimate questions considering where we are right now. So if you look at the price of gold over the last year, over the last year is up close to 40%. Now, this is actually better than what the S&P has done. So the S&P over the last year is up 33%. So it's no wonder that people are asking me about gold a lot. That being said, the relative performance of the S&P versus gold really does rely or depend on what the time frame you choose is. So, if you took a different time frame, the S&P beats out gold, so 94% for the S&P if you take a 5-year horizon versus 75% for gold. And so, keep that in mind. And it's very possible that you have extended periods of time where gold does a whole bunch of nothing. And considering the fact that we're up 40%, we may see a cooling off period here. That being said, I think the secular tailwinds for gold are very much overlapping with the secular tailwinds for Bitcoin. You can make the same argument for both, but I think Bitcoin is an upgraded version of gold. And in fact, if you look at the returns, obviously the returns of Bitcoin are much more volatile. But if you look at the returns of Bitcoin compared to gold or the S&P over the last year, for example, absolutely blows them out of the water. I mean, the difference between gold and the S&P doesn't seem that material when you look at the difference between these assets and Bitcoin, for example. So it's something to keep in mind. That is, yes, I think there are arguments for gold. Certainly, it has performed uh, very nicely in recent history. But I do think Bitcoin is, the better story of value compared to gold. It is the gold of the future. But if you're not comfortable with Bitcoin for whatever reason, then there are the argument for gold can be made as follows. Well, fiat we know is um, there's no max to it. There is a physical limit on how much gold can be mined. Uh, Physical constraints, I should say, on how much gold can be mined, whereas theoretically with fiat, you can just print them out of thin air. So there is no theoretical limit there. So the risks of dilution for holders is much higher for holders of fiat, and that means that over time one can expect the value of gold denominated in fiat to go up. And especially when we look at the federal debt, so total public debt as a percentage of gross domestic product, which is the only way to make sense of the debt number. So if I told you, 34 trillion, 35 trillion is the amount of debt we have right now, well, it's hard to make any sense of that or put that in any type of context. But I think what can help put it in context is comparing it to GDP. And right now, you can see that as it relates to GDP, and this is actually it's actually north of 125% right now. Debt is greater than GDP by um, uh, 25%. It's, in a year, it'll probably be 130%. So we actually we have a big problem here in the United States with regards to how much debt we've incurred as a country, and that trend seems to only be accelerating in the wrong direction in the way of more and more indebtedness, which means there has to be more and more fiat printed in order to service this debt. Look at interest payments. This is not a pretty picture at all. So interest payments have exceeded $1 trillion. This is as of Q2 2024, and it's um, it's a higher number now. And we've never had this much interest payments that we've had to pay. And as you can see, the line is straight up, almost straight up. So, the need for stores of value is higher than it's ever been. And by the way, this is the US dollar. Most other major currencies are in worse condition than the US dollar. At least in the United States, we have a dynamic economy, a very innovative economy with innovative companies that are creating enormous amounts of value. In places like Europe, you don't have that. You just have, debt and a very stagnant economy. So uh, this is uh, this is not a pretty picture for fiat. It is a pretty picture if you are a store of value like gold or Bitcoin. So the argument for a gold is a solid one. There's secular tailwinds. It has run up as of late a lot. And so you do want to, keep that in mind. Now, if you're looking for a halal exposure to gold, easy exposure to gold, I did look that up for you. And it is so a good candidate, there are others, a good candidate is granite shares, and their ticker symbol is bar. So But in case you're looking for a way to gain exposure to gold um, in your brokerage account, and so you can see the two lines are overlapping, gold and bar. So this is an ETF that is meant to follow the price of gold. It has a small fee. By the way, I'm not associated with it at all. I have no dog in this fight, nor will I be investing in gold. As I mentioned, I think Bitcoin is the better hold. But for people who ask me about it, who are wondering, I would say bar, the ETF, is a good choice. And they actually hold physical gold in coffers, I think in London. The company itself, Granite Shares, is based in New York. And so, yeah, I hope that is useful for whoever is thinking about holding gold. Now, let's look at why Piedmont Lithium is up. Piedmont Lithium secured mine operating permit for a Ghana project. Piedmont Lithium was up. Well, actually, it's up. Let's see here. It's up 17%. I think it was up at one point close to 20%, more than 20%. They were up today after saying Ghana's government issued a mine operating permit for the Iwoya joint venture project the company is developing in partnership with Atlantic Lithium. The mine operating permit is the final required regulatory approval for the start of construction of the project, although Ghana's parliament still needs to ratify the permit. We hope the ratification can occur in the coming sitting, expected to resume on October 15th, which would set us on the path towards construction and operation of this globally significant lithium project. Now, Piedmont Lithium's share price also got a boost from Rio Tinto's announced $6.7 billion acquisition of Arcadium Lithium. Now, this is an interesting acquisition because, so a bit of color on that, Arcadium Lithium stock soars as Rio Tinto announced a $6.7 billion acquisition. Rio Tinto announced Wednesday that it has agreed to acquire Arcadium Lithium in an all-cash deal at $5.85 per share, expanding its access to a key ingredient of electric vehicle batteries. The deal values Arcadium at $6.7 billion and will need to be approved by Arcadium shareholders. The announcement sent Arcadium shares soaring Wednesday morning, which is today. Now, if you look at how much they soared, well, more than 30%, which is a pretty darn good day of soaring. So the reason why this is very bullish for Piedmont Lithium is that if you were to take the value, the multiple that they got on their revenue, Arcadium Lithium got on their revenue from this acquisition, and you would apply that to Piedmont Lithium should be valued at around $700 million. Currently, however, Piedmont Lithium is valued at $285 million. So this is very bullish for Piedmont Lithium, as it could conceivably be a very juicy, attractive target for acquisition. So if an acquirer were to come with a similar offer to what was offered to Arcadium, and then there's more than 100% increase in price that could accrue to Piedmont Lithium shareholders, which is not that bad. Now, when you add to that the fact that the short percentage on Piedmont Lithium is close to 19%, you can see the opportunities for a short squeeze. And I do actually think that what's happening right now is a short squeeze. So the change in price of Piedmont is being amplified by the shorts. We, as I mentioned before, we're overshooting on the downside, and now we're overshooting on the upside in response to news events, and the shorts are kind of in a bad situation. The bulls have taking control, and the shorts are just trying to stay afloat as much as they can, and are covering their positions as they get called, which means more demand for Piedmont Lithium shares, which means the share price goes up, and it's all a happy story for Piedmont Lithium holders like ourselves, or like PIF members. So that is why Piedmont is up as much as it is up today. Again, congrats for everyone who was able to book profits there. Alhamdulillah for everything. And let's take some questions. Amin says, Assalamu alaikum, beautiful people. I second that. Almost to 60,000 subs. Yes, it's amazing to see. Alhamdulillah. So if you haven't subbed, make sure you sub. Try to get you as much useful information, try to squeeze as much useful information into our lives as we can so that you can earn some halal alpha or above market returns, inshallah. Abdul, nice to see you. Wa alaikum salam. Salam, Arshad says, Salam Arkan. Awesome call on the gain yesterday. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Arshad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Chocolate says, Salam. Wa alaikum salam. Khalid says, Salam, is PLL a hold or sell at current price? Khalid, I think you're a member, so just check our watch list to see our buy below and sell above price. Or should I say our yeet above price? Anyway, that's an inside joke. Thank you all for coming, guys. If you haven't left a like, then do leave a like. And hit the notification bell, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Become a PIF member. Until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum, and peace be upon you all.